Awolwatuka. Oh, once upon a time, long time ago, there were three friends. These three friends were coming back from the market, and on their way back home, they found a big log of firewood besides the road, like a big stump. So, but it was uprooted, of course, it was just there. So one of the friends said to the others that, look guys, I'm gonna have to take this firewood to my house because we could use it for cooking. The two girls were like, no, 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 you can't do that, that's embarrassing. I mean, how will people like see us, what are you portraying here? So the two girls were against this girl's decision to take the big firewood that she had seen besides the road. But this one girl insisted that she had to take it. So what she did is she carried this big stump on her head and took it back to her house. When she reached home, of course, the parents were happy that she had brought firewood, because back in the villages, they never use electricity for cooking or gas. They use firewood. That's how poor people can be back home, like maybe in most, countries that you may not know about. So it came to evening, people were getting ready. They didn't use it that day. They didn't use that firewood that day. So it came to evening, people had showered, eaten, now it was time to go to sleep. So this girl was called Nnyakamomoro, the one who brought this big log of firewood. She was called Nnyakamomoro. So when she went to her bedroom, before she slept, she had someone sing, but she didn't know who was singing, but she heard the song coming from outside the house. Mwiskiwe, mwiskiwe Nnyakamomoro, bojonenko ngiyanyita Nnyakamomoro, bojonon twaro nyote Nnyakamomoro, bojonin kwenda kubyama Nnyakamomoro. Basically, this song was coming outside, but it was this log of firewood singing. I mean, it's unbelievable. It was this log of firewood singing. And basically, this song was saying, you go, Nnyakamomoro. This guy was called Nnyakamomoro. I'm a big fire log. You took me home, use me as your firewood. But now I'm feeling cold. I want to sleep as well. This guy was like, am I hearing properly? Did I just hear someone sing? She couldn't believe it. And the log, the firewood, sang again. Mwiskiwe, mwiskiwe Nnyakamomoro, bojonen konge yanyita Nnyakamomoro, bojonon twaro nyote Nnyakamomoro, bojonin kwenda kubyama Nnyakamomoro. The girl came outside and she actually witnessed this fire log singing. So she had to carry her fire log and took it to her bedroom. So she did that, but she didn't tell no one that the fire log sang. So when it reached morning, she carried the same fire log, she brought it outside. So she used to do that, in the evening she takes it inside, in the morning she brings it outside, like for a couple of days. But in this firewood, or in this big log of firewood, one night, a handsome boy came out of it. Just like that, a handsome boy came out of this fire log. So this handsome boy was sharing a bed with the Nnyakamomoro. But still, Nnyakamomoro didn't say thing to her parents. They never knew. And they were asking themselves, the parents were asking themselves, why does Nnyakamomoro doesn't want us to use this log of firewood? But of course, she never told them. But one day, Nnyakamomoro's mother was going to her bedroom. Then she asked, because it was not meant to be like that, but she accidentally saw this handsome boy go into Nnyakamomoro's bedroom. Then she was like, who's that boy? Because in their house, they never had like boys. It was only Nnyakamomoro as a child. So the mother said, okay, maybe I'll ask Nnyakamomoro in the morning, the guy I've seen tonight, and maybe she will explain who the boy was. When it came to morning, Nnyakamomoro's mother called her and told her what she had seen last night. And she was asking, who's that boy who came into your bedroom last night? So, of course, Nnyakamomoro had to explain to her mother that, okay, ma'am, that boy you saw actually comes from the firewood, the fire log that I brought last time. So the mother also told the father. Of course, they couldn't believe it. They're like, really, really? So the parents said to Nnyakamomoro, please tell your boy to come and meet us. We would like to chat to him and see maybe a word or two, and we get to know him. So when it came to night, and the boy did the usual thing, comes out of the fire log and shares a bed with Nnyakamomoro. So Nnyakamomoro spoke to the boy and told him, look, my parents want to meet you. They all want to meet you because last time my mother saw you. So the boy agreed to meet the parents, but on one condition. The boy said to Nnyakamomoro, look, I know your parents want to meet me, but before I meet your parents, the boy had one condition. He said, your parents should call the whole village. Let the whole village gather. Let them drum. Let there be local brew. Let people drink and dance and enjoy. Then I'll come out and show myself to the public. Of course, Nnyakamomoro went and told her parents what the boys had said from the fire log. And then news was spread all over the village. People gathered, because the people were like, really? So a boy is coming from a log of tree, really? So people gathered. So when everyone had gathered and they were drumming, of course, there was local brew, people were enjoying themselves, then Nnyakamomoro carried her log of firewood from the house and brought it outside where everyone was gathering. So just like that, a boy came out of this big fire log and people were surprised. I mean, it was magical. No one had ever seen such a thing. And this boy was kind of a magician. So Nnyakamomoro's family was really poor. Like the village in general was a poor village. Like people were really poor. But when this boy came out of this big fire log, using his magic hands, he touched the fire log, and boom, a big, good, nice looking house appeared for Nnyakamomoro's mother and dad. Just like that, people were surprised, like, whoa, what's this? Then the boy touched again the fire log. Things were just, coming, just like that, Things were appearing like nice cars, nice houses, like big crowds of cattle, like riches. And people, and the two girls, if you remember the story at the beginning, those two girls who were telling Nnyakamomoro that it was embarrassing to carry this big log of firewood on her head, now they start feeling jealous a bit, like, oh, I wish it was me, because Nnyakamomoro was getting like riches for her family, and at the end of the day, she was, she had met this handsome boy. So but the more this boy was touching his log, it was reducing. Every time he touched it, it reduced in size. Until it completely disappeared. So when it disappeared, the family had a lot of things, a lot of riches, nice houses, fancy cars, fancy everything, cattle, everything. They had everything, just like that. It had happened like magic. So after everything had happened, then the boy married Nnyakamomoro. And as we say in Uganda, Nanga wenalabira. And that's what I saw all those years ago when this Nnyakamomoro met the man of her dream, and they were rich at the end of the story.